We were looking at revenue for Facebook, $70 billion in projected revenue this year, now 10% alone just from the stories on Instagram.
And it really goes to show that advertisers are starting to catch on to this new user behavior because people increasingly are posting to these more ephemeral forums like stories where it's more casual, there's not as much pressure. And on stories, advertisers have been slow to catch on, and we've seen Facebook talk about that in their earnings calls, that we shouldn't expect advertisers to fully be participating in that format for a while now. And so this is a good sign for Facebook that their revenue is catching up.
Eric, in your opinion, how much of an increase is this prior to relative years?
Well, first off, stories only launched in 2016 on Instagram, and they've really just started monetizing them significantly in this year. So the growth is, relatively rapid. Instagram's growing at about 60% in 2019 alone, and it's going to account for about 20% of Facebook's worldwide revenues. And that's going to be even higher in the US specifically, at around 30%. Now, when you look at Instagram stories, most of the monetization is happening within the US, so it's growing very rapidly.
So, Sarah, to play off of that, if the stories are really monetizing well in the U.S., do we expect that then the next logical move would be to go overseas? And when do we start to see some of that monetization abroad?
I think you're going to see a lot more monetization from Instagram in general. The problem, though, on Instagram is that users are increasingly migrating to this ephemeral format and not posting as much on the main feed. Now, the main news feed and the main Instagram feed have ads that are much more expensive still for Facebook. So the overall advertising price on average has been depressed because of this shift to stories. Maybe once it becomes more natural for advertisers to do posts on stories, we'll see that improve.